live for? To achieve happiness or success? Or are we just here to live our days and go by? Well, it's hard to tell, but it seems enduring hardships and heartbreaks is just a condition of living, or that's what I thought. Let me tell you a story about a girl finding her own way around her beats. As you can see at the very beginning, the story gets the reader to question all around this one topic that is life. I wanted to keep this particular paragraph in my story to help further engage the readers who, of course, all have different beliefs, opinions, ideas, and responses to these questions, as well as to give the lesson and or the moral at the very end of the story even more value. I also made the choice to fuse an introduction to our main character, Lily, through that same paragraph. We'll get back to the characters later on. Now, I'd like to talk a bit more about my biggest inspiration, which, as you can already tell, came from the Greek myths, as I've always been greatly fascinated by their compelling stories, morals, and out-of-this-world characters and beings. So, my story is basically a retelling of the Greek mythology of the Sirens that tells how our main character, Emily, or Lily as referred to by her close ones, overcomes all the hardships in her life to teach us all a great lesson. Now, I wouldn't like to spoil too much of the story, so I'll stop at that. However, I can assure you that despite the existence of magic, spells, and sirens in my story, that the overall message or lesson from the story is easily applicable to our lives. Like, for example, how depression, a psychological problem, is a curse that we need to break free from, and how seeking help and aid from others is something we should celebrate. Future work? Well, I have in fact always been interested in reading compelling stories, especially fantasy-themed ones. However, I have never really tried writing one, so the whole process was kind of new to me, and this was my first ever really well-written story, so I was really happy and grateful that I got all this praise. So my answer is yes, I want to write more in the future in hopes of making even better and more entertaining stories.